Full moon in October, eclipses in the fall of 2024, written, directed, and produced by Rev Dr. Dikki-Jo Mullen. The full moon in October on the 17th is preceded by a partial solar eclipse on September 17th and a solar annular eclipse on October 2nd. There will be serious weather conditions developing during this September-October time period. The full moon in October has many names, some of which are the hunter's moon, harvest moon, blood moon, drying rice moon, travel moon, freezing moon, and a number of others that Dr. Mullen will talk about. Now Dr. Mullen will discuss the full moon in October 2024.
Hello, stargazers, astrologers, and mystics. I'm astrologer Dikki-Jo Mullen in Orlando, Florida, coming to you with some special information about the moon. Do you know you can actually be here's this Templeton. He's a little Aries. He has to jump in on everything. Do you know that you can actually be a very good astrologer just by working with the moon? And the full moon and the new moon are the good places to start. Nearly every calendar will have a full moon, new moon, and then usually first and last quarter moons to get started with this. Let's take a look at a very interesting full moon. The full moon on October the 17th of 2024. This full moon takes place before an eclipse season. More about that starts in a minute. And each full moon has many, many different names, going way back in folklore with Native Americans, very early European and Asian traditions. The full moons throughout the year were the great timekeepers. They kept our lives on track before there were clocks and calendars, and they still do just as well today. Things culminate on full moons. The names of this full moon in October that we might think about are a hunter's moon. This name reflects the hunting season in the northern hemisphere. It's a time when by the moon's bright light, hunters were allowed to track game more effectively. It's also sometimes called a harvest moon because people later on than that, after the hunter-gatherer phase, would be out in the fields doing some harvesting under the full moon. Another name is the blood moon. The blood moon, or sanguine, another name for blood moon, was when animals were harvested or slaughtered for the season to come. And that sounds kind of gruesome, but it was a survival mechanism, and this full moon would have marked that. Another name is the drying rice moon, having to do with preparing different foods for the long winter ahead, harvesting them and harvesting the full moon of October all relates to that. Another one is the travel moon. This signifies the transition from warmer months to colder ones, and it's a time when nomadic peoples would travel, when they would bring up their tents and plan for journeys and migrations that were seasonal. And the October full moon was the signal to get started. The drying grass moon is another one, and this name alludes to the changing landscape of grass and foliage that begins to wither and die in preparation for winter. Autumn moon, fall moon, celebrating the new season. The pumpkin moon. This is the moon approaching Halloween, and the pumpkin evokes images of pumpkin patches and spooky festivities. The falling leaves moon, suggesting the essence of autumn, the beautiful colored leaves. Finally, the freezing or ice moon. In many areas, this is where the cooling temperatures begin, and maybe a first freeze might be on the way. So all of these are moon names that we can think of as we look at this full moon of October the 17th. This moon falls at 24 degrees of Libra, and it is opposing, of course, the sun in Aries. And this represents the polarity in relationships. We have Mercury in Scorpio, which represents research, the afterlife. Venus is in Scorpio, which can bring a past life quality to do with love and relationships. Mars is in Cancer. This influence suggests home and heritage. Many people might be doing something with ancestry. Jupiter is continuing its transit through Gemini, and that suggests growth through thoughts and through communication. We also have Saturn in the sign of Pisces, which suggests service and sacrifice. All of these keynotes are significant with the full moon in October. Those of you who are Libra or Aries can be particularly emotional and sensitive. Full moons and new moons follow at approximately 2 degree intervals, and the full moon is the one that is following an eclipse season that's very interesting. Let's back up a bit and look at a partial lunar eclipse that will be taking place on September 17th of 2024. This partial lunar eclipse is going to be occurring in the sign of Pisces. It's very close to the midpoint between Neptune and Saturn in Pisces, and I'm predicting some very intense weather situations here. Make sure you have flood insurance. Make sure you have your hurricane supplies. This is a full moon where there could be a lot going on along the coasts. It profoundly affects the horoscope of Florida. Florida is a Pisces state. And around the world, this partial lunar eclipse can be the beginning of an eclipse season, which we find culminating on October the 2nd. And that's going to be a new moon eclipse with the sun and the moon at 10 degrees Libra and Mercury at 11 Libra. That can profoundly affect airplane travel and airplane safety. The 2 weeks between the 17th of September and the 2nd of October are really extreme and significant time periods. And we can see a lot going on with politics, the weather, things to do with the world culture, groups of people. And then backing up a bit, the full moon on October 17th reveals the extent of this. So this is just a little example, a little look at moon-centered astrology and how just knowing about the moon can tell you a great deal. Weather changes tend to begin on a new moon and culminate on a full moon. So look at the new moon on October the 2nd for how the weather changes are going to be going. And then the full moons on October 17th and on September 17th can bring things in the totality of what they represent to the light. Being aware of the moon's phases, very important for human behavior, plant growth, all sorts of things, and of course various almanacs give us more information. They make it very easy to use and benefit from astrology. Just look at the moon, think about the moon, attune to how significant it is to begin with moon-related situations. The word lunatic comes from luna or moon, and if anyone is going to lose it or go crazy, a full moon and then also the 2-week-long eclipse season is a time when mental health is extremely important. If you're trying to promote something, recently I had a good friend who wanted to have a garage sale, and we scheduled her garage sale for the Saturday just before a full moon, so she would have a big turnout. But if you want to sell or promote something, right before a full moon is the time to do that. If you want to get rid of something or get someone to sell something for a cheap price, go to the time period before a new moon. So you have to know the difference between the new and the full moon, and any calendar will tell you that. Magical rituals for meditation or candle burning can be scheduled for the moons. If you want to burn a candle for something good to happen, do it before a full moon. If you want to burn a candle to lose weight or get rid of something or for protection, you want the waning moon or the dark of the moon. So those are some time periods to look at. The waxing moon is the time period from when the moon is new till it goes to full. And then when it's full and begins to get smaller again, that's the waning moon. So that's a little bit more insight into the magic of the moons. I'm Dikki-Jo, Moonchild, wishing you bright and positive experiences with the moon.
Thank you for watching the video. Reverend Dr. Dikki-Jo Mullen has been gifted with several psychic learning styles that she has developed over her lifetime. Each of us has been gifted with innate psychic learning styles as well that we may choose to develop. Reverend Dr. Dikki-Jo Mullen is an astrologer, psychic, and parapsychologist. She provides astrology, psychic, rune, and tarot card readings. She provides face-to-face and Zoom readings and seances. She offers webinars, face-to-face individual and group sessions as well. Here are Dr. Mullen's social media sites. Her email recently changed. She offers inspirational insights on her WordPress site. She has more than 200 related videos on her YouTube channel and also maintains a Facebook page. Reverend Dr. Dikki-Jo notes that use of the internet enhances the psychic energy of her work. She observes that this is a result of the fusion of her earthbound energy, her psychic energy, and internet energy working together. She encourages you to explore and develop your innate psychic learning styles.